And we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Laspina. I am the Carnivore Teacher here on YouTube on my Wednesday Carnivore Night-School. And normally I've got 3 or 4 people ready to go for you right now. And so far, it's just me. I did have Peter, Papa Carnivore, and he just disappeared. So he might have to sign back in or something. I don't know what happened to him. Our topic tonight to discuss, and I hope I have some people to talk with about this. If not, I'll just go on and on, which I can do. I'm a teacher. I know how to use up time. Our topic is a snack is always an emotional event. And for some reason, I guess I didn't type it up there. So I'm going to type it in the chat. A snack is always, let me capitalize it, emotional event. All right, so we can refer to that in there. And looks like Rick is about to come on with his Halloween cat. I just told him to get on here. Here comes Papa Carnivore again. Let's see, he might be having some issues with his camera. So we're going to talk about snacking and foods that we probably should not be indulging in between meals. Hey, where'd you go?
I'm here. Here I am.
You disappeared for a little bit. I'm glad you're back. So let's go around and everybody on the screen introduce themselves. I'll start. I'm John Laspina. I'm the Carnivore Teacher on YouTube and a few other social media platforms. And I became keto almost 6 years ago for a year. And then I went ketovore for 3 years. And the last 2 years, let's see, that makes 5. I missed a year in there somewhere. I have been carnivore, and it has really changed my life. It has heightened things and made things better. Any little remnants of physical or medical issues that I had disappeared. And I just feel better on pure carnivore. Can I dip back into ketovore and have a little plant or a little spice or something? I've done that from time to time, and I know that I can handle certain things, but I tend to try to stay away from that. So I'm really pleased with carnivore, and I'm trying to pay it forward on my channel and teach lessons every day, different topics about why the carnivore diet is the proper human diet and how it can make most people feel, if not carnivore, certainly low carb, eliminating all ultra processed food, fast food, starch, sugar, and seed oils. So we have Peter, who is Papa Carnivore. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Papa Carnivore. My real name is Peter. I've been carnivore for 19 months as of November 1st. So that's tomorrow, the next day. Mm-hmm. And started keto for, I don't know, maybe a month. And then I transitioned maybe another month into ketovore. And I've been carnivore ever since. I just feel better, straight up carnivore. I was type 2 diabetic, A1C over 8, sky high blood pressure. I mean, as high as 180 over, I don't even know what. I mean, super high, 3 different high blood pressure medicines, 300 pounds, morbidly obese, acid reflux. I was taking omeprazole, just a handful of medicines for all these things. Chronic arthritis in my knees, so bad I could barely walk, in my back, my ankles. I was just IBS, bloated, terrible IBS. I had depression, anxiety, ADHD. I was on a host of different medicines for that. Well, here I am now, 19 months later. I'm off all my medicines, other than I take a levothyroxine for hypothyroidism. I've had that since I was in my 20s. But other than that, I take nothing other than supplements, just, some iodine, some magnesium citrate, and vitamin D3, K2. but I mean, just basic supplements. That's really it. And all my conditions I mentioned are completely gone or in full remission. I feel absolutely amazing. My energy, I used to have chronic fatigue. My energy is off the charts. John, you saw me at the meetup. I said I could just get up and dance on the table. So I feel great. I mean, anybody, I just highly, highly recommend. I can't, I'm 62 years old, but I'm now down 101 pounds.
Wow.
From 300 to one. Well, I was 199. I gained a little weight. We'll go into the chocolate bar incident recently. But other than that, no one's perfect. Even someone like me who's had incredible success, you can fall into the carb ditch, and it's really easy. We're all humans, so it happens. So, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely, and we do all fall off from time to time, and we try not to think of it as a failure. You look at it as an opportunity. You learn from that, and it's harder to fall off next time because you realize how bad that was. You learn from that, and you're not starting all over like you started the keto or carnivore diet from scratch when you fell off. You start again, but you're way ahead than you were when you first started with all the knowledge, and all your body, your mitochondria is already used to it. So, all right, let's say you ate a candy bar or two. Yeah, get back on. And it's so much easier to get on carnivore again because it was just one little mess up, and you use it as a tool to learn for sure. Man, you had a lot of issues that you totally healed. You're a walking example of how amazing the carnivore diet is for the human body. I mean, so many people have similar stories, but yours specifically, all those medicines, all those, and especially the obesity and all of the other issues you had. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that, and I know I've seen it. I'm going to share a picture from that night if I can get my computer to cooperate here. You've seen this picture, but anybody watching might be interested. See if I can get that. Here's a little, oh, do you see? No, you don't see. That's not the right picture. There you go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You can. Okay. So there's a picture of like five of us. There's Carrie Mann and you and me. And who was the name of the gentleman behind us there?
Oh, that's Jerry.
That's Jerry. And
Jerry Vashtush. Dr. Kiltz is in the red
Dr.
hat.
Kiltz is right next to me, right?
So you got two carnivore superstars right in with us.
Right, in the same picture, which is why I wanted to put that one in there.
Unbelievable.
And
I
then
mean, that was crazy.
See if I can get this other one here. So we talked about community at one of Nia's lives. And so here's all of us at the dinner. Can you see that picture?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And the lighting was horrible. All this overhead lighting is just horrible. I'm a videographer, right? I'm really big into video production and photography, and it's just the worst lighting coming down on top of us, casting all these shadows. But that was a little group shot that we had, and we ate at a Brazilian steakhouse.
Now, I just want to point out the three ladies in the front row, the three older ladies there.
It was their first day, right?
Well, two of them were. The one all the way to the left who has the orange sweater and the magenta sweater.
This one here. Yeah.
She's been keto. She's keto.
Okay.
And that's Valerie Thompson.
All right.
She's a wonderful lady. Long time keto, like you, long time. But I don't think she made the move into carnivore yet. So I think this was her dipping her toe in a little bit into the carnivore space. Her two friends she brought along were like first dayers.
That was these two ladies. I remember them saying this was their first day.
Those are her friends,
right?
That were, they're like keto carnivore curious, I would call them.
That's great. And I think there was another person who said it was their first day. I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
it was so cool. I mean, we had a wonderful meetup, and a community, and reinforcing and talking to one another, and you're on the right track when you're sharing stories and you're patting each other on the back, and everybody shares how carnivore has helped them, so that when you continue with your way of eating, you feel reinforced, you feel validated.
I also want to point out that I had never been to a meetup. I've been 19 months carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody around me eats the way even keto. I
Right.
mean,
You're
let
right.
alone carnivore.
You're right. How did you feel at the dinner? How did it feel to be around everybody like that?
Oh my
Similar to
God.
you?
It was like euphoria. It was like 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 the lights, the heavens opened up. It
Right.
was like, oh my God, these are my people. You know what I mean? And then you and I met the night before by chance. I was taking my mom out to dinner. And so you were the first carnivore I ever met in my life, or keto or anything, And then I met you and Doug. I mean, it was just amazing.
Yeah, that's not my first meetup, and I've been to many like symposiums and learning opportunities, and I got to meet a lot of famous
But do you
YouTube people
remember?
too, but it's an
The first?
amazing feeling.
Do you remember the first time that you met a
Yes.
group of people, and it was like, I'm finally not alone?
And you're flying high. You're happy. You
Yeah.
feel euphoric because you're not alone. You're not the only one. And we are one of millions of people in the world. I understand, because the standard American or standard world diet is all around us. It's all the stores, it's all the restaurants, it's all your neighbors. I was so excited that the guy who just moved in about a year ago, next door to me, I got to speak with him maybe 6 months later, and we ended up talking about Dr. Berg, who's keto and has a whole big keto channel, a very large keto YouTube channel, into the millions. And we talked for 2 hours in my driveway about ketogenic. And I told him about my channel, and I was so excited that I had a neighbor literally right next door to me. So his name is Ridvan. He's such a great guy.
The first video I ever saw, because I had been diagnosed, this was January of 2023. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I knew I had pre-diabetes, but I didn't realize I had slipped all the way into full-blown, diabetes, until I went for my doctor visit, and they wanted to, start me on God knows what. I don't even know what they're going to put me on. I said, whoa, I need a few months. Give me 6 months. I'm going to try and do diet, exercise. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I'm going to figure this thing out. And I went to YouTube and I typed in 2 words: reverse diabetes. And guess what popped up?
Dr. Berry, right.
Dr. Berry's video. I watched that video, and of course, you go, wow, this can't be what. But I started reading the comments, and I just was like, whoa. I mean, and it was over and over. There must have been hundreds and hundreds of them,
thousands,
all saying
probably
the same thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do keto. I'm going to start, I'm going to start with keto. And at the time, he was still, I think, mainly talking keto, and at least in this video was more keto. He's talking about the proper human diet, taking out the sugar, taking out the grains, taking out the seed oils, the sugars, the grains. And I just did that. I started taking out the sugar, the seed oils, the grains. And I said, okay, I'm going to do whatever Dr. Berry tells me to do. And then I kind of just started going more and more towards ketovore. And I don't know, within a month, I think I was full-blown carnivore, because I really never liked vegetables all that much. I mean, like, as Rick would say, duck food. I was never really into the duck food. When I was a kid, and I told this story on Nia's channel about how when I was a kid, I would be the last one at the dinner table, and it would be like quack, 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 Rick. But I would be the last one at the dinner table, just me and my mom. Everyone else was gone. And I was like refusing to eat the peas or whatever it was. And it would be like a business negotiation. She said, well, eat 10 more peas. I said, I'll eat 2. Right. And it would be back and forth, back and forth. And I would hide the peas under the mashed potatoes. And there was a planter, Rick, behind me. I don't know if you ever heard this story. There was a planter behind me. It was like remember the old metal milk jugs? They were tall. Like,
I have one. I keep my umbrellas in them. Yes.
And it was painted blue, right, with some flowers on it. And there was a plant. And I would literally, when she wasn't looking, I would empty out the peas and shit into the planter. I remember this to this day, that I would eat the meat. I loved the meat, So I always joke with Rick that, he's technically a real 40-year carnivore, but my carnivore started back then, because I would always make eggs in the morning and bacon and sausage, and I loved that, man. I couldn't get enough of the butter and the eggs, So I always, I think, knew that this was the way. I just didn't know any better. And as I got older, in my teenage years, whatever, the candy and all the other crap, and I went away from it. And at 61 years old, here I was, full blown diabetic, 300 pounds, high blood pressure. I was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, and never stop telling it. I mean, that what you said when you looked on Dr. Berry's website, and what got you were a lot of the comments. When people make comments, other people read those comments, and they're so extremely helpful to read, because you're reading a variety of different kinds of people. It's limitless, all of the issues that are being resolved just by taking out some ingredients that are in our diet.
Well, and I'll tell you this too. The first thing that happened, that I can really remember is a long time, but within 2 or 3 weeks, all that terrible arthritis and joint pain. Remember, I told you my knees were I thought I needed 2 metal knees. That's how bad my knees were. I could barely walk. The pain was just like bone on bone. This is for years. I was taking, 3 ibuprofen every 8 hours, several times a day. I had this Voltaren cream that I would put on, and buying that stuff. And it just crazy, putting that on 4 times a day. And it might have been 10% better, but I'm not kidding you, within 3 weeks, I had no pain.
Like a miracle.
I mean, like my knees, it was almost like remember the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, put the oil and it went away. Yeah.
Remember, Rick?
I remember.
Remember the oil can? And he couldn't move, and he put that oil with that can, that can. And I mean, it was like my joints felt like lubricated with motor oil or whatever, lubricating oil. Yeah. And I truly believe it was all that fat, because I was heavy on the butter, the fatty cuts of meat, the ribeye, I was bacon.
Your body was sucking in the nutrition that you were depriving it of for so many years. And there's nutrition in fat. A lot of people think it's just fat.
Yeah. And then also that all the brain fog, and like I said, that depression, anxiety, that I was on all those medicines. That within a month or two, man, I was like, I don't need this medicine anymore. But I did have to wean off and titrate off that with the help of my psychiatrist. But within 6 months, I had pretty much titrated off everything as far as psych meds. And, as far as high blood pressure, I mean, within 6 months, my blood pressure was normal. It took, that was kind of elevated and took some time to come down. It was a little stubborn.
Stop it.
But I was able to get that done. There's Milton.
There's Milton getting abused again.
He's fighting rid of this thing.
All right, Rick, you joined us while we were chatting away. For those of us, for the viewers on here who may have never seen you before, and this crazy kitten, tell us who you are and how you have almost always been a carnivore. Not almost always, but a long time.
If you haven't seen my story, all you have to do is look for the 40-year carnivore. Looks like my cat bit me again. Oh, this little monster, I'm telling you. My neighbor found him a couple weeks ago. Thought it'd be, wanted to give him to somebody. I figured, well, I haven't had a pet for a while, so I guess I'll have a black cat. And just like
Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got a black cat there. I got the real thing. And this little guy, of course, being my cat, you probably know what I'm feeding him.
Yeah, obviously you're feeding him some raw meat of some kind.
That's what I feed all my cats.
That's the species-specific diet for a feline.
And my cats will live between 16 and 21 years. They will only go to the vet once in their life, and that's to get their nuts cut off. Other than that, they never go to the vet. I tell everybody when it comes to a cat, if my cat gets sick and, is in really bad shape, that's why I get another one. I'll just get a replacement. But the funny thing is that after all these years, I've never had a cat with cancer or any other issues. In fact, my 21-year-old cat, when he was 20 years old, he was driving me crazy running around like a maniac. So, it kind of goes to show, at least in my theory, that you could live a long time and be relatively independent. But I think what eventually happens is you just run out of energy and drop dead. So I started the carnivore diet as a teenager. And if you don't know my story, because I was a form of rebellion, because you know how teens like to rebel. And my dad was very much into health foods. So, what happened?
Your voice is there, but your
Okay.
video cut out.
I got such an old, rundown computer. This thing's over 10 years old. The webcam is extremely old. Then on top of that, the cat's been playing with it, so I have a feeling that this thing could fail at any time. I've been checking out the dump, but I haven't found a good computer yet. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, I guess that's the main
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, well, that's the other thing. The microphone came from either a yard sale or the dump. I can't say which one it was, but that seems to work. But anyway, yeah, I started the carnivore diet because my dad was very much into health foods, and we had the granola and the whole wheat, whole grain bread, and we had the brown rice. We had all the other veggies and the juices and all the disgusting stuff that tastes like grass after you mow your lawn and looks awful. And my thing was, if it's green, don't eat it. That's one of my theories. So I thought, well, when I had the opportunity and my parents were not able to cook for me, it's a long story, but I decided I'll eat what I like. And that turned out to be meat, and it turned out to be eggs and a little bit of dairy, and that was it. So I ditched the veggies, and I told, my dad was telling me that I'm going to have cancer and heart disease. I said, well, I don't want to get cancer, so let me see what I can do to get that heart attack. And that way, if I get the heart attack, at least I won't have to suffer the cancer, because you know how it is with a heart attack. You start getting chest pains, you can't breathe, and you drop down, and then they try to revive you. They try to shock you back into life, and that's it. They put the thing over your face, and the thing goes beep, up a flat line. That's the end of it. So that was my goal. Just eat all the stuff that gives you a heart attack. And what was that? Butter, lard, tallow, beef, any kind of meat, deep fried in lard, that kind of stuff. So that's how I started the carnivore diet, which I called Rick's Heart Attack Diet. And I still call it Heart Attack Diet to this day, even though I have a funny feeling there's no heart attack coming, at least for a long time.
Okay. Rick, I was thinking, thank goodness we all ate the standard American diet back then, and you were rebelling with meat, because if we were all eating meat back then, you might be rebelling by eating sugar, carbs, and seed oil, and you would be dead today, possibly. Think about it.
You're probably right on that. Right? The thing is, I never liked anything sweet, so
That's good.
In some ways, that's kind of a good thing. You know how it is. I was one of those kids that hated vegetables, and I never liked candy, and I never liked cookies, and I never liked cake. So,
okay, our topic tonight, you may not have much to share then. Our topic is called "A Snack is Always an Emotional Event." And I got the quote from Dr. Robert Cywes, and he is considered to be the Carb Addiction Doc. And he uses that phrase to explain addiction and the fact that a lot of us snack. A snack is in between a meal. So I have 2 meals a day. I have a first meal, which is between breakfast and lunch. I usually have it around 11 o'clock a.m. And my second meal is usually around 6 or 6:30. In between 11 and 6:30, that would be a space in there where most people would have several snacks. And then after dinner, this is how I used to eat, at least, I would have lots of snacks before I went to bed. And I would also have breakfast. So a snack is usually in between a major meal. And most snacks for people are starch, sugar, and seed oil. It's stuff that come in a box or a package with a barcode. And a lot of it's a Bliss Point type snack. And the Bliss Point is where the companies manufacture foods. I'm gonna mute you there. They manufacture foods to purposefully have just the right amount of salt, just the right amount of sugar, and just the right amount of fat to hit this point in the brain that triggers addiction. And we can't just have one, they brag about. You can't just eat one, and they're absolutely right. And they're kind of like bargaining, that expecting you to have more and buy more. So of course they make money. And so a lot of snack foods up the snack food aisle hit the Bliss Point. And a lot of times we eat snacks for emotional reasons. And that's what I want to talk about here. I know that Peter's going to share an experience he had with some chocolate, and then I'll share some of my experiences. And Rick, maybe you have some experiences with snacking, maybe from over 40 years ago. I don't know. So let me start.
So my chocolate bar incident, I call it the chocolate bar incident. I went over to my mom's last weekend and for dinner. And of course, you know, after dinner, she breaks out my kryptonite, which is, you know, dark chocolate with almonds. This big ass bar, you know, the big thick bars, you know, big monster bar. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I can't, Mom. You know, I'm carnivore. You know, she knows. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and she's been pretty supportive. But you know, just have one square. A little bit's not gonna hurt you. And the Jewish guilt. I got a Jewish mother, so anyway. Oh man, and she just, I said no, and I did the 3 no's, and I said, you know what? Just to get her off my back, I'm gonna just take 1 square of chocolate. Okay. P.S. I not only ate that square, I said, well, you know, I had 1 more square, you know. Then I had another square. John, I finished the entire chocolate bar. Then I started looking around her pantry to see if there were more chocolate bars. I mean, you know, it was back to, you know, total addict city. Anyway, I ate that chocolate bar. I went home. I used to get migraines, terrible, like sugar migraines when I was diabetic, you know, like from the sugar. I would wake up, it would literally feel in the morning like I had a hangover. You know, I feel like I was dehydrated, headache. Same thing came back. I mean, it felt like I had literally drank a 12-pack of beer like in 5 minutes the next morning. Banging headache, felt like crap, no energy. Even started getting my joint pain back again, you know, like you know, my knees felt. Then I start hearing that clicking sound I used to get in my joints that went away.
Oh gosh.
So it just but the worst part now is that the sugar and carb cravings came back like on steroids.
Like a freight
train. For the past week, I've been kind of sneaking chocolate bars at Aldi's, you know?
How many did you have since that first one? Be honest. Hold you accountable here.
4 or 5.
The big ones.
Well, they're just normal size. Like a candy bar.
Yeah, that's not only are you giving yourself the carbon, you know, the addiction thing is coming back, but also you're eating a lot of oxalate. That oxalate, man, that's a microscopic shard of glass type substance that's very, very super high in cacao. And, you know, our body can handle about 150 milligrams of oxalate. And I don't know, in that candy bar, guarantee you had close to 700 or 800, maybe.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Just in one. And that stays in the body for a while until it's time to dump out. And you don't want to get a kidney stone like that guy had at our meetup.
I know. So now I haven't, it's now been, I guess, two days. And I've just, but I mean, I've been clean for 2 days now. I'm back, I'm back out of the carb ditch, but my brain is still thinking, I want that chocolate. Are you
bargaining? Are you trying to give yourself an excuse or a reason to get at it?
It's all I can do. Because I drive by the Aldi, several Aldis on the way home from work, on the way to work. Yeah. It's all I can do to just not. All I have to do is turn the wheel. All I got to do is turn the wheel and go into the Aldi.
Yeah, isn't that powerful?
But I've been resisting. In fact, I went into the Aldi because I had to get grass-fed butter, and I was strong. I walked right by the chocolate bar. Walked right by him. I got 4 sticks of my butter, and that's all I bought. 4 sticks of butter at Aldi, and I walked out. So I felt like that was. But this is a 19-month carnivore. that I've been clean, like clean and sober for, with very small little cheats here and there, but nothing like this. This was literally like, an alcohol, like a smoker going and picking up
Oh,
pack of
heck yes.
cigarettes.
Yeah, and that right there, you just identify that as an addiction in your brain to you.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Look at what Mama Crocker says here. I love that screen name. If you have a bag of cooked bacon broken up in a baggie, all right, carry it with you. If you get that urge, you're driving by Aldi, whatever it is, start eating a little bit of that bacon. It's got the salt and the flavor in the bacon. It's going to satisfy that. It's going to go away. It actually works. It can. Yeah. Pretty cool. Wow.
So anyway, I'm good. I'm good to go. Oh, look at that. What are those, eggs?
Aldi eggs.
Aldi eggs.
Oh, Aldi eggs. They got Aldi eggs right now, $2.15 a dozen.
And
that's pretty good.
What kind of eggs are they?
They're just regular eggs.
Regular eggs, yeah. If that's all you can afford, it's better than cereal. It is. I buy the pasture-raised eggs. I go to Sprouts, and they have a dozen pasture-raised eggs for $4.69. Believe it or not, that's like the cheapest pasture-raised I've ever seen on the market. And I buy tons of them because, normally you can't get them sometimes they're $8. They're $7 for pasture-raised eggs. And you can tell, you crack those suckers open, those yolks are really, they taste better. They're more orangey. The protein content's better. I made a video on the 4 or 5 different types of eggs you can get. And the pasture-raised, of course, are the best if you can afford it.
Right now I've been buying the Aldi eggs for $2.15. Rick, you should be proud of me.
It works. It works. I'm going to, let's see, get rid of that one there. There we go. So a snack is always an emotional event. What emotions are we talking about? I don't know about you guys. I want you guys to share as we go around. When I was eating the standard American diet, and even when I went keto, I still snacked like crazy, but I made what I thought was a healthy keto snack. I was still snacking in between meals because I wanted something. I would eat mostly out of boredom. I wasn't really technically hungry, but I wanted, because I had always done it all my life. It's almost like a ritual that I created in my brain. I have to have something at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock because it's the time of the day. But I really wasn't getting hunger signals for nutrition. Then another time I would always eat, this is before I went keto, was when I was depressed. I had a lot of emotional highs and lows. And when I was low, I would feast on ice cream.
I'm the same way.
And junk.
I'm an emotional eater too.
Yeah, emotional. Some people eat when they're happy. Some people eat when they're really stressed out, like very hyper stressed. I know I do that. And some people eat when they get really mad. So whatever the emotion is, some people go the other direction though, and they can't eat when they're depressed.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person's physiology, but we need to understand when we're craving a snack between meals, why? Ask yourself the question, why do I want that snack? And there's usually a reason. And the reason is usually an emotion or boredom. And there's a way to get over it. So tell me if you guys, I think you shared that a little bit. Rick, have you ever encountered snacking where you're not really hungry based on your body's nutrition, but you wanted something to eat for another reason?
No, not really. When I was a kid, my parents always told me, don't eat between meals. You'll ruin your lunch or your dinner. So snacking was never part of my upbringing. Even when I went on the plant-based diet, I didn't snack because all the food was disgusting. So I had to force myself to eat. And in normal life, I don't really see a need for it. I don't understand the whole snacking thing. I eat 3 times a day. The first thing I do when I wake up is make breakfast. Then I eat breakfast and I work. Now, I haven't been working this week. I've been working at my house, but it's still work. In fact, I think I do more work at the house than I do when I work for somebody else. Because when I work for somebody else, I got to get in the van, try to get that started, drive over there. I spend more time in traffic. But when when I'm at my house, I'm working. A lot of times I'll start working even before the food is done, especially for lunch. I made heart attack chicken, and I was outside working, and I can smell the chicken as it comes through the air vent in the kitchen. So I'm working outside, and I got a good sense of timing. So I made that, and I had 5 pounds of heart attack chicken. I haven't had dinner yet, but I'll cook that after this is over. I don't understand the whole snacking thing. I mean, why
Well,
would
you come from a unique perspective. I mean, every time we ask a question and go around in the circles, even on Thursday night, your answers are, that's why people love to listen to you, because they're from a very unique perspective. Most people, when we ate all the crap not so long ago, we snacked, and we snacked a lot. Look at the holidays that push snacking. There's the Super Bowl holiday. What is that all about? It's all about snacking while you're watching the game, and it's all
Well,
crap food.
It's
right?
like the people I work with. The people I work with, they have all kinds of chips and
Yeah,
candy bars and
there you
all
go.
this stuff. It's just a constant thing. In fact, I never knew what Swedish fish were until I found out it's some kind of cookie.
The red, were they the red little jellyfish?
No, they're like little cracker-looking things. They're like cookies.
Oh,
But
our
one of the
Swedish
guys,
fish were the red jelly candies that I remember.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I looked at it and somebody said, "Oh, do you like Swedish fish?" I'm like, "Well, I like fish." And then they handed me this stuff. I'm like, "What's this?" That's Swedish fish. Looks like duck food.
Thought it was fish.
Oh, you call everything duck food, Rick. I don't know what's
You
wrong.
call everything duck food. They're calling something fish that isn't fish.
Right. I mean, you know, and I did give some to the ducks. They love it. You know, whenever these guys go to snack, usually if we're near a canal, there's going to be some type of duck or some kind of bird, seagulls or whatever they're eating and stuff. But
I have a question for you, Rick, about ducks. I know we're getting off topic here, but you know, we often hear don't give ducks bread because they'll eat so much of that and there's no healthy nutrition in that, and then they'll fill up on that and they're actually malnourished. What are your thoughts on that?
I can show you the result. If you've seen some of my videos, they get their wing feathers grow in distorted.
Oh, so it's true. Okay.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true.
And they get fat too. They fatten up.
They get fat and they actually will die. I had one, I cut it open and it had heart disease.
Oh.
So there was a duck that was over there behind the bank that the lady was feeding. People were feeding it. They have a bakery. They have a place. It's called, I think, Ricky Bakery. It's some Cuban place.
Ricky.
The bakeries here are really popular. Every shopping center has a bakery.
Yeah.
They have what they call Pinecrest Bakery. There's another one, I forget, but every little shopping center has a bakery. And I never understood why, but you know, there's always people in there. But the more that I've gotten to know other people, I realize that they actually eat that stuff. And it just boggles the mind because fast food, it's like it's invisible to me. I had somebody that I hadn't worked with before. He asked me, "Where's the McDonald's?" I'm thinking, I don't even remember where the McDonald's is. I know there's one on Bird Road, but I can't.
Oh, they're all over.
Yeah. I know there's one on Sunset, but I couldn't tell him the exact address. They said, you got to go out in Sunset, and then it's right next to the gas station. It's like, what avenue? I don't remember. I think it might be 97th Avenue. It takes me a while. But everybody else, they know where the Burger King is.
Some people live in the drive-thrus, you know.
Well, that's it. Now, my mother, when she got sick, she liked to eat that fast food. And I hated every time I had to go and get it. I get so mad at my mom. Like, why do I have to go to the Checkers or the Burger King or whatever and buy this stuff? I could make you whatever you want right here.
Do it.
But
or you did it. I mean, is your mom still with you or she's gone?
No, she died years ago. Okay. But the thing is, and my mom was anemic, so she could have benefited very much from the beef. But when she wanted a hamburger, she wanted the thinnest, the tiniest little bit of meat. You know, she hated beef. She would never eat steak.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that I cooked, she called that, you know, caveman food or Neanderthal. She used to make fun of me because said I was like a caveman because I don't use any, you know, I make my own soap, I cut my own hair, I put lard on everything. Everything is cooked, you know, in the kitchen or cooked outside. She used to make fun of me cooking on the engine. So I got a lot of grief from my mom. My dad also being health conscious, you know, he pretty much just constantly told me I was going to die, that my diet was terrible. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but fast food does not appeal to me. I go in the store, I don't see any of the things you're talking about. I go to Aldi, I didn't even know they sold chocolate bars. I mean, the only thing I go to Aldi to buy, I buy eggs, I check to see if they have a sale on meat, and that's about it. I really don't buy anything else from Aldi. And if I'm cooking for my friends, he likes to eat broccoli, I'll buy some frozen broccoli for him. And occasionally I'll buy their organic tomato sauce from my friend when I don't have tomatoes out of my garden, although he prefers my tomato sauce because mine is fermented. That's one of the secrets. Any vegetable-based food I have for fruits, they're all fermented.
Fermented, which is better. You're getting the anti-nutrients out.
Right. And it tastes better. I've tasted it. It's good.
Rick, when I go shopping and I'm in the grocery store, I don't look at the chocolate and I don't walk up the aisles that have all the other stuff in there. And I can see why you don't see it because you've always done that. Now that I'm a carnivore, I walk into, I shop at Publix or Sprouts usually, mostly. And sometimes I'll go to Walmart to get some meats when they're on sale. And when I go in, I just go directly to the meat section, the meat and eggs, and then I go right to the checkout.
Yep.
But years ago, I would go up all the aisles and the cereal and the coffee and the snack foods and and I look at other people's baskets and they have in their baskets what I used to have in my basket, which was a lot of snack food. A lot of money went to this crappy food. It's really amazing how much I used to spend. Now, our topic, a snack is always an emotional event. What do we do in place of a snack? And that is to find an activity. It's to find something to keep us busy. And that feeling of wanting a snack, that desire to get a snack, it only lasts 5 or 10 minutes and it does dissipate. It goes away. And what I do is I'm learning how to play the cello. I'm learning how to speak Portuguese. I have books that I purchase from these cool YouTube doctors, and every once in a while I'll pick up a book, I'll read a couple chapters. I find something to do when I got that urge to eat something, because I still, believe it or not, I will still get an urge in between my first and second meal of the day sometimes to eat something. And I'm thinking about going in the kitchen and pulling the cabinet up. I don't know, there's nothing there, right? But it's like, why am I getting this urge? I need to get busy. And I make myself get busy. And it works every single time. But that urge is built into my brain from decades and decades and decades of always having a snack, always satisfying that emotion or boredom with sugar. And you saw what happened to Peter. I mean, he can't stop eating the chocolate because he started. And you don't understand that, Rick, because you don't like sugar and chocolate.
No,
I understand it. Oh my God, it's powerful. It's like an addictive drug.
It's like boredom.
You can't stop thinking about it. Yeah.
When I'm by myself, which I usually am, I never get bored because there's always something to do. The only time I get bored is if I have to go to a lecture, or if somebody drags me to like a movie or a stupid sports event or whatever. I get bored like that. If I go to visit a friend, they're watching basketball or football or all this other crap, I can't stand it for more than 5 minutes. I start falling asleep. Oh, and they're cheering and all that. I'm like, oh, I'm so bored.
You're like me.
It's like you said, when you go to see somebody who's watching a sporting event, what is always on the table? Always.
Chips and salsa and junk and potato
pretzels.
Pretzels.
Yeah, pretzels. You have a nacho.
So let's go there now. What do you do when we're eating the way we're eating now? Rick, I know yours is easier and different, but I'm going to these parties, these events, and it's all there. What do? I try not to sit in front of it, even though I smell it and see everybody eating it. And I bring stuff that I can eat. And yes, I guess I'm snacking. But I'm eating deviled eggs. I'm eating pepperoni. I'm eating cheese.
I don't eat any of it. I let them eat whatever they're going to do. I don't care, because usually when we get together, we'll have a barbecue. And usually they'll put me out on the grill.
You're making a meal.
Friends are smart. Yeah, what they do, they'll snack, and then they'll put me outside. I'll be out there with the axe.
Put Rick out there.
Yeah, put Rick out there. And I'm a pyromaniac, so I'm gathering up all the banana leaves.
Squirting all the lighter fluid on.
Oh, I don't use lighter fluid. I use
gasoline. What do you use?
Banana leaves, twigs, whatever I can find around the yard. And I'll pile it up, and then I'll put all the wood on there. I'll get a big fire going. And then by the time the charcoal's ready, then I can rake it all up, and we'll get the steaks and the burgers and all that. And of course, I'll eat some of them while I'm cooking. So I guess I'm technically snacking, but that's only so I don't embarrass myself because of the amount of meat that I can eat. I mean, I can put away 4 pounds of meat in one sitting.
I'm not embarrassed ever with what I eat and how much I eat anymore. And I want people to ask me. I want people to say, like, actually today I went and I got some birthday cards for some upcoming birthdays. And I ran into some neighbors all the way at the other end of my community. And we started chatting, 30 minutes later, we're just standing in the parking lot. And they were like, well, how come you always maintain your weight? They said, you never get heavy. You look great. And I'm like, okay, there's an opening. There's an open door. So I started sharing that, ever since I stopped eating the carbs, the sugar, the seed oil, I'm a carnivore, but I started keto, and they were just, for some reason, they were hungry for it. They listened, and I talked to them, and it was really kind of cool. So maybe I planted a seed. Who knows? But
and you know what, John, you
Yeah.
pretty much, I've come to realize pretty early on in those conversations, when there is an opening, even sometimes there is an opening, like they'll say, oh, you look so great, blah, blah, blah. If they immediately come firing back with, oh, I could never give up my bread, or, oh, I could never give up my fruit, or as soon as they do that, I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm done. Like, I'm okay. And we're done. Like,
but they'll listen to you because they see you. Like, you're an inspiration to them. They may say that. Like the woman I spoke to today, she said, "Oh, I can't give up my fruit." She said, "I love my fruit."
For a while and just look at you like and not really say much, but then but the minute that they go, "Oh, that sounds great, but I don't know, you can do that. You obviously you're able to do that, but like I have some superpowers, but I could never blah 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 blah, give up."
Yeah,
So
I've
as soon
had
as
that
you
a
get
lot.
that,
Yeah,
that's the ultimate cope, and when they start with that coping crap, that cope, I'm done, I'm done.
But you're done. Okay. But Peter, if we're on the topic and the discussion is there, which often doesn't happen,
Yeah.
but if they asked, they're
Oh
going to
yeah,
get.
then
And if they can say,
absolutely-
I can never, like when I
Yeah.
had that discussion, when I met you at the
Mhm.
Japanese buffet, and I was
Yep.
talking to your mom said the same thing to me. I can't give up bread. I can't not have my bread. So what did I say? What was my comeback?
You said, "Oh, well, why don't you start with something else? Why don't you try and give this up?" Or there was something else.
I said, a lot of people say that, and you can have something that takes the place of the texture of bread in your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
You make a chaffle, which it has the texture and the flavor of a waffle, but it's only egg and cheese. Or you can go online and find a recipe to make a keto bread that uses almond flour, which I don't agree with, but it's better than bread. It's less bad than bread. And that's when people say I could never give such and such up, I will say, well, there's a step down, just like a drug addict can step down from their drug to finally get to the point of zero.
Yeah.
That's where I go in the conversation.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're like, really? I never heard of that. Where can I buy that? How can I make that? He's like, the internet, you can find a link on how to make anything at home. And I did that a lot. I made a lot of keto lookalikes when I first left the standard American diet. And I had keto treats for a while. I had keto cheesecake. I made keto brownies. I did it, but I didn't keep it for a long time. It helped step me down to nothing. And now I don't crave those things. And it's too drastic to say to somebody, you have to just eat meat and eggs and fish.
And I got to tell you, I was a bread guy. Boy, I love my bread and butter. So I know how hard that is.
Yeah. All right. Tina has a question here, and I don't really know the specific answer. She says, "Is it 120 grams minimum of protein if I wish to weigh 120 pounds?" My answer to that is I don't know what the number of protein that you're supposed to have based on body weight. And I have remembered listening to some doctors online saying anybody who says they know the exact amount of protein that you need to have is lying, because every body's body chemistry is different. And what I often hear from some great doctors like Dr. Anthony Chafee, Dr. Ken Berry, is you just eat meat. You try to do a 50-50 of meat and fat if you can until you're comfortably stuffed, until the food stops tasting good anymore. Your body will send you a signal when you just don't want anymore and you've had enough protein.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
based on the body weight.
I just eat until I'm, until I'm full, and then I just wait until I'm full again, and then I'll eat. I don't even know how many grams. Rick, do you? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't. I just eat like.
Some people like to have a bunch of numbers, they weigh and they measure and they count. And some people feel like they're in control of their diet that way. And maybe there is a number for a body weight in general, but I honestly think that it's easier if you just eat until you listen to your body. Eat a lot of fatty red meat.
Well,
And
remember though, these
tasting
people are
it.
coming from the dieting world. Even when I was on
Exactly.
keto
Yeah.
in the beginning, I bought one of those digital scales, and I was measuring how many ounces of cheese and how much of this and that and how many ounces
I did
of
that too at
nuts.
keto. Yeah.
Oh no, I did that for like a month or something.
Mhm.
I don't even know, maybe 2 months, or I don't know. It was a very short. And then when I finally just decided to go carnivore, and Dr. Barry was saying just eat until you're comfortably stuffed. I was like, you know what? What am I doing here? Right? Caveman wouldn't have a scale, right, Rick? I mean, caveman would he would eat his kill. He would kill. He would eat it. He would go until he just couldn't eat anymore, and then
Mhm.
it would take a nap for pretty much, right? I mean, I don't know. They would just lie there. The lion would lie there, and they would take a little snooze, you know?
That's what'll happen if you eat too much. Now, in my case, I can eat. I never get tired of it. I could
Mm-hmm.
eat and eat and eat. But I learned from experience, 4 pounds of meat is my limit. Once I've hit that amount, I start having trouble swallowing, and I can actually end up throwing up because the stomach just builds pressure, and I can't get it down. The
Right.
problem is, I don't get comfortably stuffed. I get overstuffed. So
Oh, wow.
what I have to do, because again, I guess because I've eaten this way for so long, I have such a craving for meat. There's no limit. I mean, I can knock out 5 pounds of chicken, no problem. 4 pounds of beef. I mean, 2 pounds of shrimp. I can eat more than anybody you've ever seen. I'm skinny, really skinny. And this is the other thing too. They used to tell me, well, you can only digest so much protein in one meal, but I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, even though I'm super skinny, I'm stronger than anybody I know when it comes to practical, work ability. I was picking up rolls of fence today. Not too many people can do that. I load and unload my truck. I lift heavy objects, and I've never been injured. All these years, my back is fine. Everybody else I know has a thrown out back. Everybody else I know, they got knee problems, and they've got all kinds of issues, and they got aches and pains, and then they get tired. And then the other thing is, like you were saying, if I ate as much as I could, I will not be able to work. So I'm going to have to sit down, and I will fall asleep. It happens every time. So if I hit 4 pounds of meat, I sit down in the air conditioning. Within 15 minutes, I'm out. An hour later,
lion. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what did I just do? Next thing you know, the phone's ringing. Where are you? It's like, well, I fell asleep. So I don't go over 2 pounds of meat at any meal. That's the way that I do it. So I keep it under 2 pounds. I'm good. I'll eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. I have no desire to eat any other time.
No desire to snack. That's good because your body is getting its nutrition. You don't want a snack. Next question is, do you think that sugar, this is from Felicity, I think I said that right. Do you think that sugar addiction will last forever? Do I think? My opinion is it depends on your body chemistry. I am a sugar addict, unlike Rick. Okay. I haven't had it in a long, long time, but if I have it, I'm going to be like Peter, and I'm going to bargain with myself, and I'm going to stop at the store, and I'm going to think about stopping at the store. That's the addiction in the brain. Will it last forever? Well, I'm going on 6 years of low carb, 2 full years of carnivore, and I still have that. No, I have it. I'm not going to test it. If I do test it, I know I'm going to want more. I still am going to have it. So just like an alcoholic can have a drink for the rest of their life, they know that if they have one, it turns on this switch, and they can't just have one. It goes into 10 and 50, and then their life goes downhill until they get a hold of their life again. That's how it is for a lot of us.
As I just found out with the chocolate bar incident, this is a lifelong addiction for me anyway. I've got that thing, now alcohol for me, I could drink and not, for whatever, I didn't have any problem. But, I had friends that if they had one or two drinks, they would drink till oblivion every time. They were just hardcore. You know what I mean? They couldn't moderate alcohol. So I think everyone's different. Rick, you may not have it because for your whole life, you really never, had that, and that's great. I wish I had that. But man, me, like Mitch, old guy carnivore, like John, and many of us out there, and that's maybe what led us to this way of eating, is we are sugar and carbaholics. And I thought I had kicked it. I really did, John. I thought, you know what? I could have this. I've been so good. I've been so clean. And man, I was wrong. I'm a carbaholic. Hardcore. And chocolate is my kryptonite. I know that now.
It is. And like you, alcohol does nothing for me. I don't even like it. It gives me a headache. But for some people, it's part of being with friends. It's part of socializing.
Absolutely.
It's part of holidays. They can't not have alcohol. I've seen people. They have to have it. I go on cruises a couple times a year, and it's all over the place. And it's like, what, you can't not have it even. Oh, I'm on a cruise. I'm on a cruise. I have to. And it's just part of their lifestyle. And I like what you said, Peter. You know yourself. Okay. Yeah. I know me, you know you. Everybody's different, but you can't tell somebody else. You have to identify yourself. You're your own N=1 experiment, and you can blow all the studies to smithereens because what works for you, Well,
and remember, for Nia, she did have an issue with alcohol.
With alcohol, yeah. I remember her saying.
And she didn't have an issue with weight. Okay, I've been struggling with my weight my whole life. Where I've been overweight and then I would lose and gain. It was a yo-yo, diets and everything else. But, she had the IBS and she had the alcohol. Those were her issues. So you got to figure out what is my issue. And I can tell you, carnivore will cure. Whatever it is, it's going to cure it. But you got to know, what is my kryptonite? Is it alcohol? Is it, fiber, or whatever? And the vegetables and the duck food, So, Rick, what is it for you, if anything?
Yeah, anything at all that you have a problem with, Rick?
Ribeye steak and iguana. I crave that like crazy.
But when you have enough of it, you're full.
Oh, when I have enough of it, I can't swallow anymore. But I can eat so much. Right. You'd be amazed how much steak I can eat. I've only been to one of those Brazilian steakhouses like 20 years ago, and I think they were eager when I finally filled up because I just kept eating that stuff.
It's
like Rick, if it makes you feel any better, I just ate so much meat at that Brazilian steakhouse. I literally ate until I really felt like it was at the top of my throat.
That's what happens to me.
I stopped myself, actually, because it's like I remember the last time, it was maybe 6 months earlier, we were at another one at a meetup. That one was in Austin at Hack Your Health, and I overate, and I felt it felt like Thanksgiving, like disgusting. Why did I do this? Well, I paid for it, and it's there. So this time when we went to
I got money, John.
The last one, I stopped myself, and I had conversations with the people around me, and I just said no. I turned my card over because I just didn't want anymore. I didn't want to feel that way.
Your money
and that's
right
important. Here. Now, the concept of addiction, Rick, is, when you ate a ton of meat and you didn't want any more, you're not addicted to the meat. You can't get addicted to meat. That's just hunger, and then you're full. But when we eat chocolate, we eat sugar, we could feel disgustingly stretch receptor full. We still want more. We'll still stuff it. I can eat bowls and bowls and bowls of ice cream after an enormous Thanksgiving dinner because that doesn't satisfy me. It just craves. It makes me want more and more. So the addiction kind of like overrides that satiety hormone.
If it doesn't satisfy you, why would you even eat it?
Because it's absolutely it fires off all the neurons in my brain. I'm getting enormous dopamine hits. It's like a drug.
Really?
I'm getting high off the sugar.
Better than steak?
It. Oh, heck yes. Oh, heck yeah. Now I love steak, but it's different. It's absolutely, it's like a drug. You get this wonderful, like I could eat a big bowl of M&Ms right now. I could, and I would absolutely love them and enjoy them because they're M&Ms. And I could probably eat an enormous amount of them even though they're not steak.
No.
Right.
They're
And I
nasty,
won't
though.
do it. No, I won't do it because I got myself off the sugar and I don't want to get back onto it. And
Right.
I just won't. But I know myself.
Wow.
Know thyself. And, sometimes we have to test ourselves and fall down a couple times and to confirm and validate that we really do have a problem with something. And then you really stay strong and you don't touch that stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't understand. It's hard for me to understand wanting something like that because I see the snacks, I see the M&Ms, I see the candy bars, but the smell and the taste are just nasty. So,
well, that's in my opinion, you have a gift, Rick, and you don't know it. I don't think you understand how lucky you are not to be tempted by all this crap, because most of us out there love it. Now, there's some people that don't like the sugar stuff, but they are addicted to the bread and the rice and the corn. They love it, and they can't do without there. And that's similar. They don't realize because it's not sweet. That's also carbs.
Well, I mean, look, I cooked plantains for a friend of mine. I cooked him some heart attack fries. I ate 3 of them, and I didn't want any more. They don't excite me. I don't.
That's good.
I'm looking at a steak, and I'm looking at fried plantains. Mm-hmm. Why would I eat the plantains when I got the steak in front of me?
I agree. Hey, Dr. Nelson, we're like ready to leave. I was on 7 to 8. I'm ready to sign off. I'm so sorry. But we'll let you talk, and then we'll say goodbye. So tell us who you are to the audience and how you came to Carnivore.
The story's out there in several channels. I'm Dr. Vasquez.
All right.
Dr. Nelson, look for me. Just wanted to let you know, Sam's Club, and I get nothing for plugging this, has pasture-raised eggs for about $3.65. They come out.
Okay.
That's where I buy them. They come in packages of 18.
Ooh,
but the dozen comes out to $3.60 something, and they're pasture raised. So, I mean, the yolk definitely looks very different. But if I had to buy eggs anywhere else, which sometimes I have bought at Walmart or other places, any egg is better than what
cereal.
Do you say? Ice cream?
Yes.
All
right. Thank you, sir. Next week, join us at 7 if you can, Eastern time. You're in Florida like we are. Love to have you on. I'll include you. I'll put it in the link again. Or if you want to text me your email address, I know you have my phone number. If you text me your email address, I'll add your link, and you're welcome to join us.
All right. I think I had emailed. I'll email you, but I had emailed you before, and I was leaving Texas Roadhouse, having had a
okay. You had some meat. Good for you. All right. Peter, Rick, thank you for joining us tonight. And
good night.
I might see you guys tomorrow at Nia's, right?
Yes.
All right. And I want to wish everybody an early happy Halloween. Don't eat sugar. I know I'm not. I'm going to be on this computer when the rest of my neighborhood is handing out candy with talking to Nia and everybody about how to abstain during a holiday like this. Have a great day, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Night.